Locked and loaded.
Shh, I need floor. I need to find the floor. I can never find it. I fall and I never land. Hey everybody, my name's John.
I'm Bob. He's Bi.
They're Butch.
And together we are the Butch and the Bi.
This is the Butch and the Bi, the podcast.
The board game.
The
TTRGB.
stalker neighbor cop.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Gary.
Oh, Gary. Okay, well, Bob, we watched a banger of a movie this week. But first, I want to talk to you about today's sponsor.
Oh boy.
It's Parker Brothers. That's a lie. It's not. They never would be, because if we had Parker Brothers as a sponsor, Bob, what would you do? What would be the spiel you would give?
Well, not one I would give anymore.
Oh,
as
okay.
it has been disproven, but
Oh, really?
I believe so, yeah. I sort of didn't want to mention it because I knew it would give you more fuel in your fire.
Because I remember Googling it. I couldn't really find anything on it, but I was like, you're gay. I'll take your word for it. I'm not problematic. I'll listen to someone.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. Well, anyways, we watched Game Night. It came out in 2017.
I think 18?
So it depends on it does the same thing as Waiting for Guffman did. It came out in 2017. It's directed and written by John Francis Daley, Jonathan Goldstein, and also Mark Paris has some writing credits. So that's fun. And fun fact about John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein they were two of the writers for Spider-Man Homecoming. And so there's a lot of Marvel movie references in this flick.
Mm-hmm.
It also stars Rachel McAdams, who we last saw in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness.
Mm-hmm.
Jason Bateman, who have we watched a Jason Bateman movie for this podcast?
I don't believe so.
No, he's known for Arrested Development.
Yeah, and for just generally having that depressed dad everyman face.
Yes, he's in Ozark on Netflix. That's what he's in. Yeah, I need to watch that because Laura Linney's in that, and I love her. She's great. She was on Frasier. She's more notable for there's that gay show that's set in San Francisco. They did a revival of it on Netflix with Elliot Page.
Will and Grace?
No. It was
Gay
it was
as
actual.
folk?
No, like actually good gay representation, not sitcom gay representation. It was a drama that was on like PBS in the 80s and 90s. And Laura Linney was on it, and now I can't remember what it is. Anyways, Laura Linney's not in this movie.
Nope.
This movie also stars Kyle Chandler. That's it. That's the main cast, really. That's all I'm treating it as, is the main cast. I'm going to move this up here. You guys can see my lovely little iPad with my sticker on it. Follow me at John Lobster. It also starred Sharon Horgan, Billy Magnuson, Lamorne Morris, Kylie Bunbury, Jesse Plemons, Michael C. Hall, Danny Houston, and that's everyone that's important. That's fun. Bob, I want to start with the simple question. The easiest of questions, if you will. I'm not going to even put that on the table because I know what's going to happen. What is your favorite board game?
Viticulture.
Okay.
Viticulture is a game where you own a vineyard and you make wine and you sell that wine. And it's worker placement, so you have various seasons that you're working in. You have to decide where you're going to place your workers across the year as it goes. And for some reason, it's really fun, and I'm pretty good at it, at least when I played it last. But it's been a while since I've played it, so we need to relearn it.
Don't we own it?
We do own it.
Is it still wrapped in plastic?
Probably.
Amazing.
Part of the thing is that there's an expansion called Tuscany, which is what I played with so much that I'm like, going back to the base game. I'm like,
oh, okay. It's missing some of the functions.
Yeah, some of the things, like, really just like there's an expanded map that's really good. And I think I do better on that than the base game. Although I should play the base game to relearn how to play it.
Fair. Yeah, it's one of those things where board games are like, the second you learn them, it's like, oh yeah, I got this. And then like you don't play it for a while and you're like, what? How do I do this?
Yeah, when something goes from unknowable to intuitive to back to being half remembered, it's like, it's so obnoxious.
Yeah, I think my actual favorite is chess, but my, like, if I'm going to tell people my favorite board game is, I'm going to say Marvel Legendary. But, like, chess is the one I've played the most. Which makes me realize I still need to get, like, a good chessboard. Send me your recommendations for a good chessboard.
If we're going off of most played, I feel like it might just be Mancala for me. Because I played a lot of that with my sister.
There you go. Which one?
Closer in age, not the one who's so much older that she was an adult by the time that I was.
I meant which Mangala.
That's what I thought when you first asked it.
I could see the gears turning.
And I was like, what? Oh no, I have two sisters.
Yeah, as far as you know. Well, your parents are old. You don't know. You don't know. You never know.
I never know.
You never know.
Mm-hmm.
How would they know? How would they know? No, we watched Game Night, and it was a lot of fun.
You also thought that it was Date Night with Steve Carell and Tina Fey, and it is not. It's not. But we will watch that at some point.
No, this one has a stellar poster. Yeah. I did post it on our story, and I asked the question of, what's everybody's favorite board game? 35 people saw it, Bob. Not one responded.
Shame.
So I have no listener favorite board games to share with you all. But what I do have is a very particular set of skills in telling you how to Google things. And you should Google the poster. I'm going to have it on the video version of this, which, by the way, go to YouTube to watch the video version of these podcasts. But the game, it's like a maze, and it's got like game board pieces and like the Monopoly house at the top. It's very good. Mm-hmm. But this movie it's a group of friends that are into board games, like really into board games. And Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman play a couple that meet at trivia night. They're both very good at it. And from there, we get a cute montage. It's almost like the Bizarro version of the Up montage, where it doesn't end with one of them dying.
Yeah, she's like, here's them bonding over their shared love for a thing. It's very, and also everyone else being kind of tired of them. And the way that they interact, I felt like was very us.
It very quickly endeared me to them, only because it reminded me so much of us. So I was
it was like, ah.
It's a very self-insert movie here.
If we were straight and wanted kids, this would be
said we're gay and we want crime. Speaking of crime,
that's the binary. Kids are crime.
Yep, there's no winning there. So in this movie, Jason Bateman's brother is played by the coach from Friday Night Lights, which is wild to me. And he's playing the polar opposite character. And he's showing him up. He's got fancy cars, the fancy job. The family loves him. Jason Bateman kind of feels...
all of his friends love him. Oh, yeah. Sterling's coming. Oh, my God.
Sterling's great. Their doctor, their pregnancy doctor, what was that?
That's a fertility?
Fertility doctor, thanks. Same thing. She's like, oh, is he single? Could I get his number? Like, it's everybody loves him, and Jason Bateman hates that. I'm not going to remember the names of the characters at all.
That's fair. I don't remember besides Sterling, just because they said his name so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I did. So they're playing, and Sterling's in town, and he's like, hey, come to a game night at my house, and it'll be a surprise. And it turns out it's going to be like a kidnapping, murder, mystery style party, and it goes horribly awry when seemingly it really turns into a murder, mystery, kidnapping party where Sterling, much like Mr. Body and Clue, is taken out of most of the film. And I love it. The setup, just watching the characters devolve into playing this game without realizing the stakes are seemingly real. And then also like watching them develop into individual board games. You pointed out that the one couple, they get locked in a room at the beginning of the film.
So one of the fun things is starting. I was like, we'll start with a drinking game while we wait. And Jason Bateman's character's like, we don't do drinking games. And it comes out that one of them gives the prompt, never have I ever slept with a celebrity, and one of the married couples who they've been together since middle school takes a drink. And then he's trying to figure out what celebrity she hooked up with. So that's a little game of Guess Who.
Yeah, they're playing Guess Who. It's great. One of the best things about this movie is that all of the location transitional shots are shot like macro lens style.
Tilt shift.
Yeah, they look like they are board game pieces, and it's so good.
Is the little cul-de-sac there on like a piece of the Life board game? It just, the way it was shot, it felt like they have a very perfect little
I mean,
circle.
Game of Life, the board varies depending on which version you play, but
Fair
I could
enough.
see how that's like the spinny wheel thing that you spin to like start or
Mm.
whatever.
Yeah, I don't know. The way it was shot, I just felt like this is a reference to something, but maybe it
Yeah.
was just a really good illusion.
Yeah. Well, and I just realized Sterling could have been a reference to Monopoly, and then going to jail, do not pass go, do not collect $200 kind of thing. Yeah,
He
there are
is
just
very Monopoly.
there are a lot of really fun, subtle game board references in this movie. There's a lot of like it very much reminds me of Clue, which is I think why I loved it so much.
Mhm.
It's got a really fun ensemble cast that is really enjoying this. And I remember being excited, like seeing the trailer for this movie back then and being like, oh yeah, that looks fun, that looks fine. But it was before I was taking time to really watch a lot of movies.
Mhm.
And so when we started doing movies more regularly on this, I was like, oh, I want to do that at some point. And we finally had a gap where it made sense. And man, it's just fun.
It's a delightful movie. Everyone is having fun in their roles, and there's so many just delightful, silly set pieces and storytelling elements. Like when the kidnappers show up and knock out the guy who's giving them the onboarding speech, which the name of that company is Murder We Wrote,
Yeah.
which is
Mhm.
delightful, and very on brand for theater people.
Well, and the employee is played by Jeffrey Wright, who
Yep.
Famous for Westworld. Also, The Watcher is where we last saw him.
Yeah. I thought there's something else we recently saw him in, but I don't know. So they're all just sitting there and like, wow, this is really, really realistic. And they're just like, in watching this all go down as Sterling fights for his life against a couple of thugs.
There's a great like throwing each other over the kitchen counter and like the dining room floor.
The landing on the table.
Yeah.
The one guy's just like, glass table's really strong.
Right. It was such a funny recurring bit in this movie how the tables of like rich people are like really strong compared to typical glass tables.
Yep, good sturdy glass tables and fun. I love the couple who like if you figure out the first glitch is a stapler and like they're really into it and like you can tell it's like you're the people who figure things out.
Yeah,
and then
they're
there's
also the only one following the rules.
Mm-hmm.
Both the other couples are cheating. One stole Sterling's wallet to find out the company that was running it, so they could go there and just get the last clue. And then the other two just tracked his phone because it was like, oh, you'll have to find me, like follow me around, kind of thing. And yeah, it's really great because they're so just ignorant to the situation they're in. Also, their neighbor. So this movie has a teeny tiny bit of propaganda going on. Like the worst well, not really even though, because he's still kind of a shitty cop.
Yeah, no,
he's
it's like his idea of propaganda, but
yes,
the actual
it's very
movie
much
is
what
saying,
a cop thinks they
yeah,
are.
exactly. You can see what he sees himself as, and everyone else is just like, what the hell, dude?
Yeah, is their divorced neighbor. They were friends with the wife, but she left, and he's just really creepy, and he's always like watching for when they're doing game nights and stuff. And it's revealed a little bit later into the movie that it's all been coordinated for the most part by Gary. The whole alternative kidnapping situation that replaced the one that Sterling set up was completely organized by him. The end credits of this movie show all of the dioramas he made, which was another fun little like you get some miniatures and stuff. All of the like they had all of the pictures for the cast as they were going through it, and it shows different things that related back to the movie. It was just the cinematography, and this is so much fun because of the way they frame everything to be like a board game. The visual style of this movie, both just the intro, like the Warner Brothers intro at the beginning, and then also the end credits are just very good. Like, I love when movies do that. I love when they take whatever their title card and end cards are and really play with that and don't try to just stick to the basic one.
Yeah.
Because this is a movie that should have not been great. Like, realistically, when I see this movie as something that gets made is like, everyone loves games right now, board games, so let's make a movie about that. And it turns out really bad. But like, I think this took elements of like escape rooms and used that as well, which I think really helped give it some more oomph at the start. And then also the cast is just really good.
They're really good and they're having fun, and it's just delightful. The one guy who's just a complete idiot.
Yeah. Well, but is he though? He was right every time. That's the funny part.
I mean, that's the interesting thing is it's like he's the sort of person who's a complete idiot, and then this is the situation where he's set up to be right multiple times in a row, and it's very funny.
Yeah.
But he also he says a lot of dumb things,
Mm-hmm.
but there's certain nuggets of truth.
There's a great recurring bit of him being like, yeah, rich people, they host these private fight clubs where they make poor people fight for their entertainment. And towards the end of the movie, when they're tracking down the MacGuffin of the film,
a Fabergé egg.
They find out, oh shit, rich people do have
He's
rich
like,
people
I'm
fights.
right, and they're going off looking other places. Like, hey, what if the egg's in here? I want to watch the fight. But then it turns out the egg isn't a safe in that room, and he's just like, oh, go get it.
Yeah.
And it's just like he is the sort of person who just stumbles into success amazingly well, and it's very funny.
We do need to loop back around to the other couple that were locked in the room, because we finally get to see the flashback of her tryst with Denzel Washington. And I immediately noticed that the actor playing, because I'm like, that's the type of like bit that you'd get the actual actor for. Like, you're gonna pick an actor that you can you'd get them in the movie, and that'd be it. And I noticed immediately, I'm like, that's not Denzel Washington playing Denzel Washington. And when she shows the picture to her husband, who they've been together since like middle school kind of thing.
And this was during a time when they were on a break.
Yeah, but
it was
like, that's not Denzel. Zoom in on the nose. And I was like, damn, that's really fucking good. Because how many people just went, like, immediately I was like, that's not Denzel Washington. I guarantee you 90% of the audience that saw this that looks like me just was like, oh yeah, that's Denzel Washington. Absolutely. So funny.
Yeah, no, it was very funny. And it also, like, because obviously from the moment she drinks to then they're having tension, but it's clear that they just get along so well and work so well together once they realize that. They're just like, this is so stupid. And I'm just so glad I'm with you.
Yeah. They were doing the we were on a break thing.
Yeah.
Was the whole thing,
Yeah.
which was fun.
Which she was like, you got a hand job from this person. It's like, it was over the pants and it was uncomfortable.
Oh, a Mormon hand job. Or I guess less man hand job. But
So yeah, and him building the tower was Jenga.
Oh yeah.
And then it was unstable.
That's fun. And then it fell over.
Yeah.
And he slammed the door open. Yeah. Well, and then we also, like, a lot of different things in this movie were game board pieces from Monopoly. So we had the sports car was the car. There was the dog. There was
I didn't notice that dog is the same breed. Oh, right,
yeah,
that is.
that's the Monopoly dog. It's like there were a lot
dog
of little
that gets
things
covered
like
in
that.
blood on accident. It's so funny.
Oh, because Rachel McAdams. So beginning of the movie, we get a Chekhov's gun situation where Sterling's gun comes flying out of his pocket during the fight, and
I think it was on he pulled off his leg and then it got dropped.
Was that it? It was somewhere in the room. It got knocked around during the fight. Rachel McAdams grabs it for later, thinking that it's part of the game. It's a prop. And when they finally find Sterling and they realize, oh, he's actually been kidnapped, this is not what was supposed to happen. He's like, no, that's my real gun. That's not a fake gun. Why would you think that's fake? And she's like, it is not. And she shoots it and then drops it and it goes off, that's not how guns work. But it leads to the very funny moment of Jason Bateman getting shot by his wife. And it devolves into chaos from there. This movie just continually drives the stakes up higher and higher. It does the Rick and Morty heist episode type of thing where it's like every twist is around the corner kind of thing.
Yeah, very good twist. The playing hot potato. You said hot potato.
Oh yeah, they're playing hot potato with the Fabergé egg at one point. It was very like, yeah, which is great because it shows them all very skilled at playing catch for some reason, only to then have one of them slam on the brakes later on and the Fabergé egg just flying to the front and shatters.
But the egg isn't what matters. What's in the egg matters.
Much like the friends we made along the way.
A list of people under witness protection.
Yeah, like it turns out Sterling's actually just like a black market dealer. He goes around and does deals.
Yeah, he confesses this to them when they have him in the car, and then he gives himself up. And there's
when they are captured by Gary's men.
Yes, and so when Gary is like it was all me, and they're like the egg. He's like, what? No. Yeah. And then he got fake shot, and then he gets actually shot.
Yeah. Which he does the most unhinged, like, promise me you'll never leave me out again. They're like,
yeah,
no, no.
don't you ever exclude me
Yeah,
again. And then he
like-
spits out the blood capsule.
I'm like, oh man, that's me like 20 years ago.
It is so very that. Also, there's one thing that I love, especially is the speech that. Oh, now my brain left. My brain gone.
His cadence, the way he spoke.
No, although that was very good. Very good, weird, menacing.
Yeah, it was like
stuff.
a discount Southern drawl, like kind of thing. He had a very weird cadence to him. But yeah, and we do get this really great moment when they're all kind of captured by Gary's men and they think they've been got, and Sterling kind of breaks down and reveals everything to him. And like the whole movie, Rachel McAdams and Jason Bateman are not fighting about, but it ramps up about wanting to have kids or not. And Jason Bateman's whole thing is like, well, my brother's out here living this crazy great life kind of thing, and we're just here doing this stuff. And like it turns out, oh, I'm having the better life kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. When he realized, and his brother's like, I cheated this whole time. Everything I did when we played games, I always cheated. I cheated my way into stuff. It wasn't that. It was my elbow.
Sure, continue.
Doing weird stuff. I cheated at life. I told everyone, like, I invested in Panera and I have a fancy job. I'm a smuggler.
Well, and the sweetest thing is, so the whole thing is set up as, like, the prize for winning the game is Sterling's car, which is this nice sports car. Neither of us are car people.
It's very I think Stingray?
Yes, yeah. And it was Jason Bateman's, like, dream car as a kid. And the whole movie, you're like, oh, he's just showing off to him. But the last clue that one of the other couples get is like, check your pocket. And it's because Sterling cheated. He rigged the game from the start so that Jason Bateman would get the car of his dreams. And it was a very sweet, like, moment. It's genuinely, there's a lot of really great moments in this. The twists are kind of like you expect there to be twists because the whole thing is like a weird twist.
Yeah. And then Michael C. Hall pops up as the actual bad.
The Bulgarian. He's the one after the Fabergé egg. And he plays Dexter, which he fits this role perfectly. It's very fun.
Yeah, it feels very alt universe, which is funny.
Yeah. I genuinely think this is one of the best like comedy movies to come out in the last like 5 years or so.
This is a movie that, despite lack of gay people, very funny, and I enjoyed it.
Are there really no? Well, Gary's in there. Gary's gay. Gary's closeted. Gary's super closeted.
One of the funniest moments is when the dog is covered in blood and then it shakes and destroys his whole shrine to his ex-wife.
Fucking weird shrine to his ex-wife. Holy shit.
And Jason Bateman trying to clean the dog with the shirt, and then the shirt's a shirt with her face on it. So it's very, see, that's the thing, is this movie is low-key ACAT because cops in relationships often abuse.
Yeah, like he's
stalking her.
Yeah, he's a really weird character, but then yeah, he gets shot by Michael C. Hall. It's just, the twist is great. There's a great like third act fight. We won't get into detail about that. But it's genuinely just a really fun movie. I definitely see myself rewatching this in a couple of years. I think it's very fun. There is a fun after credit sequence in which we get the ex-wife of the cop, Debbie. Wow, it's weird that we have Gary, Debbie, and Sterling as the names we remember, but they were also the ones said the most.
Yeah.
Like I can't even.
And then I can remember the guy who she thinks is Denzel Washington is Kenny, just because.
Because in the after credit scene,
we get a shot.
Debbie meets Kenny.
Yeah.
It's very.
He's like, "Hi, I'm Kenny." People usually stop me and say they know who I am. It's like, no.
One of the cute montage things that reoccurs is so Jason Bateman proposes with charades, and then Rachel McAdams reveals that she's pregnant with a bun in the oven for Pictionary. And it's just it's very sweet, very cute and dorky. And
like the two established couples, I do feel like really love each other in a way that feels very genuine, which I appreciate. It's just like, because so much of straight culture is I hate my partner.
Oh, and yeah. There's so little of that in this movie.
Yeah, and it's just genuinely like the one couple has their tense moment. Once they get over that, they're like, oh yeah, this is okay. That's in the past. It doesn't.
Well, they're arguing the way real couples argue, which isn't like a death match. At least, like compared to most media, like you see these arguments happen and like even like Friends made a joke out of it for 10 years, though we were on a break, but realistically they were on a break. Like
They were on a break. It acknowledges that he has no leg to stand on in being mad, and also the fact is like they're bickering, but they're working together to solve this thing, which shows the undercurrent of like we are committed to each other. We're just trying to figure this situation out right now.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most fascinating things about getting in a relationship that's very healthy. Except for the podcasting part. We're fucking lunatics.
We have to turn the AC off to do this, and he has multiple lights pointed at us.
I will point out I'm fine, and I'm the one that's a furnace right now.
I know you're a furnace, but I sweat easy.
It's so weird.
It is.
I don't sweat easy.
Being
but I'm
in a
very
healthy
warm.
relationship. You were talking about being in a healthy
Oh
relationship.
yeah. Being in a healthy relationship. But just I mean, like, that's the thing is like there's not like even when they get to their most tense point of the baby argument, right? Like it's not an argument. It's a conversation still. And I really love that about this movie. The writing team really did a good job of writing realistic characters in a very wacky situation. I think that's the thing I loved about it the most was that it wasn't a bunch of wacky characters in a wacky situation like Clue. I love Clue so much, but it's wacky characters in a wacky situation. And this is normal, everyday people like us in a very wacky situation. And I love that type of comedy. It's my favorite type of improv scene to scene.
It's always one or the other. If you have a wacky character, I love personally in improv. I love when you have really weird, wacky character concepts and they're having a really normal emotions conversation. It's like, yes, I'm the great space wizard. Why did you take my last brownie? That really upset me. The brownie, I was saving it and you didn't even ask. Like that sort of thing. It's just like weird characters having very relatable experiences. And then also fish out of water situations where it's just like, you're just some normal people and you're
in for a weird night. Yeah. And that's what this movie was advertised as too. Like that was basically it. I'm just surprised that it was like
good.
Very accurate. Not good. I'm not surprised it wasn't good. Like that's the thing. I think I would have enjoyed parts of this. I'm pleasantly surprised that I enjoyed almost all of it. Honestly, I can't think of really anything that I would want to change about this movie. I think the cameos were really fun. I think all the references to board games and using that in creative ways to move the story along was really great. Like Hot Potato, like Jenga, like Guess Who. Like there were all these little ways that they kept things moving along that were really fun. So I don't know. I think this is just a really good film. If you're looking for something fun to watch and you like board games, this is right up your alley.
Yeah, I do love the turn that we get to see of Sterling in the movie, him starting off so high and then him being like the lowest, almost the low. I feel Gary has higher status than he does, honestly, by the end.
Gary gets reinvited, so yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and yeah, it's nice to see Jason Bateman's character get to be like, okay, to finally have the understanding, okay, I've always looked up to you. You're actually kind of a shithead and I'm doing fine. And just like seeing him get to have that emotional growth is really nice. It's like, oh my God, like, Sterling's like, he sold the list on the black market and then charged the people on the witness protection list to
warn them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and you just see Jason Bateman's character like, God, I just like that realization of I idolized you for years, you evil idiot. You incompetent fool.
Yeah. No, Do you have any other thoughts about the movie?
It was fun. Oh, there were some fun like angle things with like the lock that they were doing.
Oh yeah, there was some fun Dutch angles in motion, like with the turn deadbolt locks turning and stuff. There were also a lot of really great symmetrical shots. Specifically, there's one of Gary where he's standing in front of his fireplace and he's got two double-barrel shotguns pointed directly at his head and at the background. One of the first scenes is them at trivia and Jason Bateman has it's the scoreboard, like the grid, and then the top part of it just says death. Like there's a lot of fun, weird, like foreshadowing things in there, which are great. Yeah, I think it's just a genuinely really fun movie. Yeah. We do have some fun news.
Ooh.
If you'll stick with us for a moment while we do our little closing notes, because it is a bit different. Obviously, we want you to go to www.thebutchandtheby.com. That's A&D, not ampersand, because the internet doesn't like ampersands. But if you are interested, we are doing a survey right now. I'll be putting the link on the website so we can get some more feedback on some things about the podcast. Specifically, what do you think about the format we've been doing for the last, I don't know, 40 odd episodes now that we've been strictly doing media? And also, what interest is there in supporting us via something like Patreon? I did some fun math this week and learned how much I've spent on this podcast. And it ain't pretty. And your boy could use some help. But that being said, we would appreciate any and all feedback. Also, if you haven't yet, go and check out one of the video versions of the episode. I've been really having a lot of fun editing them. It's made editing a lot easier, I think, just being able to pay more attention. And yeah, that's, I guess we could talk about it here just to get it out in the air, which is we are considering potentially changing the name of the podcast for SEO purposes. So not necessarily changing the whole intro spiel of the Butch and the Bye, but like just updating it so that it's a bit more accurate to what we do, and so we can hopefully make it easier for people to find the podcast with the terms they'd be looking for this type of podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bob, do you have any fun notes for people? Anything you want them to check out, maybe on a certain date in the near future?
Yeah, if you listen to this before September 11th, 2022,
Never forget.
you can come to the Millvale Community Library's brunch fundraiser thing. You can come for free, or you can spend some money and get some cool brunch and stuff. But I'm gonna have a little vending table there, which I'm very excited about, and is surreal. And I'm working on stuff for it now.
Yeah, and you can also see us on September 9th at Arcade Comedy Theater. It's part of a big queer improv show. Tickets are on arcadecomedytheater.com. And yeah, you can go get those. And that's it. Thanks for checking us out. Make sure to go to follow us on all the other things. Subscribe on YouTube and follow on TikTok. That'd be a really big help to help us grow the podcast and hopefully get to talk to more people about movies and the things that we like. And if you haven't yet, go back and check out last week's episode with our good friend Krista Brooks. She introduced us to a weird, wacky movie of wacky people in a wacky situation. And it's very fun. And Krista's a gem, and we love her. And that's it. Thanks. Bye.
Butch.